Hey everyone, welcome back to our exciting episode of Tech Productions Tag. Back up joined again by Adam, as today we go over another matchup. And this matchup in particular is Invoker 17 taking on the Trio of Saiyans. For those who are familiar, I've been doing polls now for certain leaders to kind of play as and whatnot, and Trio of Saiyans is the one that won. So we're going to kind of go over this matchup with the deck that I eventually end up building with, and look forward to the profile or breakdown, more or less, of this deck also in the coming days. But yeah, like always, just buttons, links, check them out. But let's get into it. What's going on, Adam?
Hey everybody, YouTube, what's going on?
And this is a very fun match. This is one of the fastest I had to do speed ups because we had a lot happening. So there's gonna be a lot of like not intentionally slow playing, but conversations were happening during this matchup. We were kind of looking over, yada yada. So I kind of knocked it down to roughly 18-ish minutes for this video.
Yeah, a lot of interesting interactions too that kind of had us walk through triggers and those types of things. Autos pending.
So let's go over Trio real quick, and I'll let you go over 17.
Sure.
And I'll go into more of a breakdown with my actual breakdown video for this one. But more or less, you want to play the 1-drops, evolve into the 3-drops, and then use the activate mains on other cards to go into those cards. It's literally just boom, 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 boom. The leader on the backside could play one from your drop, though at the end of the turn, that one disappears. The 1-drops can be played also just by activating main skills, but then they also disappear. So you want to make sure when you play those cards, you want to evolve on top of them right afterwards. That way, then they're already off the board. It's a new instance of a card. You're good to go.
How did it feel getting into that and building it again?
Of the 3 choices, I was happy this one got picked because like it's one I'm familiar with, so I kind of knew where to go off the bat. It was just more trying to figure out how to break it down. So I felt very comfortable going into it. I did think it was funny that in our Discord, I was like, does anyone have this card? I don't have it for some reason. It's a premium card, the Trio of Saiyans. I have it. I just forgot that it was a premium card, so I know where it's at now. This 17 is annoying. It has barrier for starters.
Yeah. This is shenanigan Invoker. There's a pretty even distribution of spell cards or extra cards, as well as Universe 7 cards that have effects on their on plays. So it's a deck that I'll continue to go to every now and again just to shake things up.
Yeah. And the fact that you can't it can't be KO'd the turn it's played. So like it just can't be KO'd the turn it's played, right?
It can't be KO'd in battle, but it also inherently has barrier and blocker.
Yeah. So like you're getting potentially a dual blocker turn 1 off the bat, which is great.
And my leader on the Awakened side draws if I attack with, block with, or play a Z battle card.
Mm-hmm.
And the 17 also has a limit 1 activate battle that I can restand it during my opponent's turn.
Yeah, like having barrier is one thing, that's fine, whatever. It can be KO is another thing, but like if it didn't have barrier, it would have been gone. Because the 4-drop, for those who are familiar, negs a card by 30k by removing the card underneath it. But you have your own form of negging too, which is what you just did.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that Frieza. Absolutely. Yep. It's a limit 1. When it's played, I get to neg something by 25k. So it helps me manage, because a lot of your evolved targets are 19k, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I've got some ways to get rid of those.
So looking back on this video now, quick question: is the activate battle to restand it only during my turn?
It is. Yep,
okay.
For the 17, yeah. It's only during your opponent's turn. Balanced, right?
Yeah. So here, just go back into it again.
Yeah, I do have access to Explosive Dance, so I'm kind of toying with the idea of playing a couple of those in the deck. I wasn't able to find them as quickly as I would have liked to, so I don't know if it's as much of a benefit as playing the classic Invoker stuff.
Yeah. And here, I've negged out your Frieza by 15 for the turn, and I'm just kind of poking at it, either seeing how much you want to keep it on the board, pretty much. And here I could come up to 25 if I really wanted to. I did not want to use the additional resources because, like, my hand on turn one, I think I said it like we were playing. I was like, this is one of those hands where every card's good, so you don't know what you want to charge.
Yeah, I noticed, and we didn't really talk a lot about it afterwards, but I noticed a lot of times on your draws, you were like, "Are you serious?" And I can never tell playing across from you if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So,
Yeah,
what was kind of going on?
it's just like it started off like every card was good, and then it got to a point where it's like I'm not seeing Explosive Dance. I'm not seeing the 3-drops anymore. Because I forgot that you. I know like old school Invoker has ways of just removing cards and more or less balancing them or something like that. But I forgot that like you also neg things out, so like you were constantly just KOing my cards. And I'm like, okay, that's something. I can't use this for this now, or I can't put this here instead. Because I think there's one time in the match where like I put a card out, and you go, yeah, no, I'm good, man. And I'm like, I don't know what to do this turn now. Like that just shut me down.
Yeah, this is if anybody plays Magic the Gathering, this Invoker feels a lot like playing Blue, where there's a lot of there's not a whole lot of battle cards. I mean, in fact, this particular leader plays more battle cards than any other Invoker deck does. You know, the ratio of extra cards to battle cards is pretty even in my build. Because there are good battle cards that synergize with the leader and with what the leader wants to do.
So here's an instance where you kind of messed me up. So this Vegeta has an auto. When this card attacks at the end of your turn, you get rid of it, and then it allows you to bring back a 3-cost card. I think you have to move. I don't have my deck in front of me to verify it, but it allows you to cycle your other EX Evolve cards back to your hand. And because you did that, I'm like, oh, I couldn't pull Goku back to my hand, or I couldn't pull the Trunks back to my hand to play those guys now because you just shut that down.
Yeah, and there was a little sequencing issue there on my part. I should have hit the activate battle to restand that 17 before I did the arrival, but we did fix it.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. You went through it. Like,
when,
I was like, what? You can't do it anymore. You're like, yeah, I can. I'm like, you ended the battle.
Battle's
You got
over.
my card.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, but it's battle. I'm like, no, you ended it. I'm like, but you go ahead and do it. But I was like, future reference, make sure like, it's just quick reminder. Like we had a lot going on.
Yeah.
Like, I think you guys were in the middle of like between rounds at this moment too. We're like, hey, while we're just waiting, let's just do a quick match.
Yeah. Well, and what was funny is by the time, and this is already sped up a billion%, but by the match that we were waiting to complete was still not over by the time we were done with it.
Which is, yeah, I've asked Jimmy to incorporate time rules from here on out, which normally isn't an issue for us. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
All right, I'm pulling that Vegeta up real quick. I have it in my hand now. I just want to double check, make sure I wasn't misplaying that card. Now my brain's kind of like, maybe I was misplaying it. Alright, so when this card attacks, place it into its owner's drop at the end of the turn. When this card is placed in the drop by this skill, add to 1. Yeah, but since you removed it, I couldn't add it back to my hand. I couldn't add a card back to my hand because of that. So, like, getting rid of that was just really good. And then you play another 17 on me.
It just feels like a wall at that point in time with 2 of those 17 blockers on the board.
Yeah. I wait. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I essentially have 3 blockers, right? Because I can block with 1, restand it, block with it again, and then I have the initial restand. So I didn't mind having it, that one leave at that point in time.
Yeah, because it's only protected for the turn. It only has that extra protection for the turn.
Correct.
In this situation, I think I only played like the Unison as a 2 of in my deck. It's you don't need the Unison for this deck because the leader's able to just play the 1-drops. You're able to play the 1-drops for your hand naturally anyways. But it's a top 3 searcher for 2 energy. it gets +2 markers. It's hard to get rid of. Like, this unit's hard to remove unless your opponent just focuses, like, just machine guns into it. And if they can't machine gun into it, you just have another body on the board at all times that can just play with your 1-drops without having to use that 1-drop to activate main skill to play it itself.
Yeah.
They can only be played if you have another 3-drop already in the battle area that isn't them. So in this situation, like, if I had a Vegeta or a Goku on board, I could have played that Trunks for free from my hand instead.
Yeah, it's so strong being able to search the top 3 for any red card, and then also +2 every single turn. And doesn't it get like dual attack or?
It has a -4 ability, but you were pretty good at keeping me away from 4 markers. So it's like the first time turn you managed to get down to, I think, 3 markers, and I think after that turn you're kind of like, there's no real point in constantly going after it.
Yeah. Yep.
And also, me doing explosive dance doesn't help you either.
Absolutely. I don't really have a whole lot of cards that I can combo into my Z energy. So explosive dance wasn't fun on my side. And as good as the card is, if you can, I mean, it kind of does, display itself early if you're playing against a red player, and at that point in time you just start Z charging, so you got some fuel later.
And that's why, like, early on, I comboed off a Sin and stuff like that, just in case, like, you did play Explosive Dance in this deck. I wanted to be able to swing with certain cards down the road, because that's a 30k boss monster already.
Yeah.
So, going to this turn, I had a couple of sequences choosing. Like, you're at 3 life. I have ways of killing you this turn if everything goes in my way. Granted, your energy is great. You have 6 open energy, so, like, this is difficult. So I activate the leader's ability to get out the search first. Then I peek your hand with the secret rare. You got, like, tons of sleepy boys. You have the Emperor Death
My
Beam.
SCR.
Like, your SCR's in there too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, okay. Give the leader a nice little 10k boost. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to Z-Awaken now. Because I have a scary board, a scary battle card. Now my leader's potentially scary because, like, on attack, the leader gets, like, plus 10k for every non-leader card underneath it on the attack, and it's a double strike innately, so it becomes it goes from 25 in this case to a 55k double strike. So I swing the the leader to get rid of Sleep Boy. I forgot Sleep Boy, I just looked at it. Removes anything. There's not a restriction, which is great. And I'm like, cool. All right, that's one. Let's swing with the leader. This would be 55,000 and double strike. And I'm like, I'm just looking towards your battle card. Serves two purposes. Person 1 could potentially bait out a negate, or it will just, like they're here. Or you just killed it. Play 3 now. For 2 energy, play Sin. This is where things get a little messy, and I misplay a little bit. Sin has a permanent where when its power is reduced, you instead give it a 5k boost. So it has 2 effects. It negs a card by 3,000 power for every card in your Z energy. And then you can neg another card by 30,000 if your leader is a Z leader. I chose to choose it first to make it 35k, and then I combo up to 50k. I even said after I did, like, you're just going to use the Emperor Death Beam. And you did. And then immediately went, I'm such an idiot. I could have baited the energy for you to do Emperor Death Beam, but you had to pay full price because you didn't have the Invoker anymore.
Correct.
And then you, boom, negative by 30. I go, cool. Instead, you get the 5k boost. And then you had to combo out of 50k out of that. And that could have been game right then and there. But I misstep, and you were able to get out of that attack. And I'm like, okay, what do I do now? I'm like, oh, I can't play my boss monster Goku because I overrim 6. And I'm like, this messed me up so much. I'm like, I have to pass, and I think this is game. So let's see what
I'm not
happens.
that. Yeah, I'm not that good of a player. It's never just it's game. So I'm gonna, I do feel pretty confident. I go ahead and whip out the old 6 cost Ultra Instinct Son Goku, paying full price for it.
Yeah.
I don't run the rival
Rival Seekers.
seeker.
Yep.
Yeah, it just takes up too much space in my deck.
Did you play your Seeker Rare?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. So here you're baiting an attack. I use this
Mhm.
negate to negate by 10 off the bat. My leader's already a 10k boost, make my lead 25 to now you're 30. And I have no other choice but to activate the extra card. You're swinging, you're trying to deal damage because the Goku's wording is when a card deals a damage to an opponent, they get an extra hit. And I'm like, oh, I don't want this. And then if I were taking another damage, you crack Vegeta and I'm dead. So here I'm coming off the 2 Gokus I've left, and I'm actually, I think, no cards in my hand now. And we're reading the wording. Vegeta says place, does not say damage. So I don't have to take another life, but you do clear my board, which sucked. Because you're tapped out now. And because you cleared my board, I now have nothing. Like, no threats. I have no hand, no threat to go to you. I drew a Saiyan, and I'm forced to discard that Saiyan to draw 2 cards, which is the downside to this leader. You have to discard a Saiyan card. Here I'm just kind of
And
like,
you were like very low in your deck too.
oh yeah,
I think your deck is really
this is a
thin.
53 card deck, and I'm already down to like I think 5 cards on my deck now. And I'm just trying to see what I can get to do whatever it is I need to do.
And you kept finding those 1 costs into the into the evolve targets. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, and then I finally play this double strike, and I have nothing left. I think I just swing with a double strike and hope that you can't combo. You're tapped out, and you comboed out. You use the X card as well. Going to this turn, it just breaks down. And at first on this Goku, I thought it had to be X cards. So I was thinking, oh, cat blow, yeah. And you're like this. I'm like, oh, if that's the case, I'm just gonna block this to make you attack with the 6 drop afterwards. I have no cards in my hand. Like, either way, it's a tough situation. I mean, I lose.
Yeah.
So that being said, we're just gonna slowly wrap this up as we are showcasing it here, and then we'll get a little tangent where I'm showing you like the interaction where I messed up on, and like I said, I could have won there. You could have possibly comboed out. We don't know. It is a little late, but thank you all for tuning in. Keep on those buttons, links down below. Bye.